talk about the first chakra asanas that you can teach your clients to engage in by themselves at home. Now we've used very basic hatha yoga postures because we want people to feel confident to try something at home by themselves, and we want you as the practitioner to know that you can impart this very basic technique that is a tool to your chakra balancing, but it does not require you to be a yoga instructor. Because at the end of the day, anybody can go online and look at all sorts of different poses and be trying it for themselves at home. What we want to give you as the practitioner is the methodology behind each pose and why it's going to serve the person for the purpose of balancing their chakra, okay? So the first pose Mel is going to demonstrate, I might actually get you to face the camera for this one, up, is mountain pose. So she's going to scoop her arms up nice and big and bring her hands above her head. Beautiful. Palms are gently touching here. Now I know you can't see her palms, but that's okay. The other thing is thanks, Dom. The other thing is if it's a struggle for people to bring their hands together, then opening the arms and nice and straight is fine as well. Good job. All right, now I'll get you to face me, kicking the arms up. Because what we're looking for here in this particular pose is we want to bring attention to the two energy centers in the arches of the feet. So I often say to my students, I want you to find the center point of your heel at the front of your heel. So it's like the start of where the arch is. And then from that center point, you're visualizing it in your mind's eye, you're going to draw a line forward through the toes. So several lines going forward, imaginary lines of course. And then that allows them to adjust their posture just a little bit so that they're more grounded and feeling evenly balanced through their feet. From that, then they're going to start breathing in and out and allowing themselves to visualize drawing energy through the feet to the tailbone and the perineum, okay? So we're working on that first chakra area. We want to draw the belly button just slightly towards the spine, and then we elongate the back. Beautiful. And then, you can even drop the shoulders just slightly. Mel's really good at holding the posture perfect to begin with, so there's not a great deal of correction that she needs, but it's about feeling your arms, feeling your body, but bringing your attention to this region of the front and back of the body. Visualizing with color is really beneficial. Red, obviously, and varying shades depending on the individual. Some people like a burgundy red, some people like a cherry apple red. It will be relevant to their own soul, so it's no specific, just red is fine to describe that to them. Now from here, I'm going to get Mel to step into Warrior 1, so if you just want to take your arms, gently down. She's going to step back, nice deep lunge. That's Warrior 2. Arms up. No, your legs are right. Your legs are stuck.
Warrior 1.
Warrior 1's up.
So
Warrior 2's that way.
So from here.
Yep. You're going to step back. Beautiful. Arms are nice and straight. She's got this beautiful line, and it's important when we talk about alignment that yoga isn't always about alignment. However, to ensure someone who's got a knee injury or knee issues, we don't want the knee to go past the ankle, okay? We want the knee and the ankle in line. She's going to feel a nice squeeze in her butt cheek here as she straightens that back leg. She's going to twist her hips forward, which is going to create a nice stretch through the abdomen. And so while there's all this physical stuff going on, we also want her to then focus on her first chakra area, okay? So she's going to use her breath to connect and feel the body. There'll be nice tightness happening through the shoulder blades because she's lengthening the arms so much. And then as she's exhaling, she can see that color ebbing and flowing through her chakra, the first chakra area. All right. Now the beautiful thing about Warrior Pose is you can do Warrior 2. You want to drop your arms if they do get tired. So you can just move your arms straight to this position, but still hold the lunge. Okay. Notice she didn't move her legs. And then of course, if you are engaging this with a client, make sure they do both sides of the body because yoga is all about balance and you're ultimately chakra balancing as well. Beautiful. And then hips forward and just closing the eyes enhances your body's need to balance, so it strengthens the pose. If closed eyes is too much for a person, open eyes is fine, right? Then you have to find and work with whatever their starting place is. But mountain pose is a great place to start, and as a person gets more agile and feeling more confident in their own body's ability, stepping into warrior 1 and then possibly warrior 2 is a fantastic way to do it. Alright, thanks. Welcome to the next video. So now we're going to talk about the second chakra area and some asanas that can go with that. So the first one Mel's going to demonstrate for us is what we call goddess pose. So she's going to show you front on and then side on so that you can get a sense of how you can help to align your own self. And then of course you can then convey that to your clients if you're doing an online coaching scenario. So if you can step into nice wide stance for me, Mel. Beautiful. So she's got a nice deep lunge happening. It's a bit like a horse riding type of stance. She's going to bring her arms up. And we're going to have nice square elbows here. So we're working these arms. She's pushing her chest forward a little. And then she's going to roll her bottom in. So where she's going to feel this, even though we're working the second chakra, all of it is being worked from the behind area. So it's the lower back, the start of the lumbar part of the spine moving into the thoracic part of the back, that you'll be working all the way through your shoulder blades. And of course some people will say, my legs are killing me, and that's okay because you're engaging all of those muscles at the same time. Remembering that for 5 breaths that you can be drawing the energy through. You can draw it visually from underneath you, whatever works for you, but you're moving it to the second chakra now, from the first up into the second. And then for those of you who are comfortable in this position, you can come up onto your toes. It's a little trickier, and that's okay. Remembering that yoga doesn't require perfection of you, okay? It's called the practice of yoga for a reason. Thanks, Mel. All right, now the next one that Mel's going to show you is what we call dancer's pose, and it's like warrior pose in that, and tree pose in that you have to work both sides of the body. So if I can get you to just raise your leg first, Mel. So sometimes people need a strap to hold onto their leg, and that's okay. Mel obviously has the flexibility that she doesn't need that. Now she's holding her ankle and her foot, okay? So the top of her foot is where the palm of her hand is. She's going to pull that behind her and reach forward to maintain her balance, and she's going to turn her palm up as if she was doing a ballerina style pose, okay? Now that's really lovely, all right? Requires a lot of focus, a lot of concentration, and again, it's that second chakra area that you want to bring your attention to when you're in that pose, okay? So this is what we call dancer's pose. So for those people that you have that are a little fitter and a little more agile with their balance, this is a great pose to do. Otherwise, goddess works just as well. All right, see you in the next video. Okay, I can edit that bit. Okay, guys. Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about our solar plexus chakra. So in this pose, Mel's going to demonstrate what we call cat-cow, and it's done on an inhale and exhale premises. So you want your client to be able to come into an all-fours position. What we're looking for is for the wrists to be directly under the shoulders and the knees to be directly under the hips. And you can see from the way that Mel is, her toes aren't tucked, they're nice and flat on the mat. And then when she inhales, she's going to arch her back downwards the other way. There we go. All right. So we're going to inhale from here. Now it can't be a big inhale because there's pressure on the diaphragm, so it won't expand the way it normally will. But as she exhales, she's doing what's like a tummy crunch, and she's going to curl all the way up. And you can see the way that it's like a cat stretching. Okay, so we're going to inhale and exhale, bringing the focus to the center of the belly. This is great for digestion as well. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Okay, and then I'll just get you to come up onto your knees for me because we'll demonstrate the camel pose next. So you can do 5 rounds of that against that starting place for your client or yourself, just to give them a concept of what that movement feels like. And again, the alignment doesn't have to be perfect, but it is more comfortable if your wrists are under your shoulders and your hips are above your knees. All right, so for this one, I'll get you to come up. We're going to demonstrate camel pose now. Now, when people start out, Mel's very flexible and she has a great spine, so she can go straight into this pose, but we're going to show you it in stages because it's sometimes somewhere where we get to. So we'll start with just putting the hands behind, squeezing the shoulder blades back and lifting the chin up. She's engaging these tummy muscles here, okay? But she's also, what's beautiful about camel pose is it's relevant to the heart chakra as well. So remember, we've been now doing poses to bring the energy up in those 3 lower chakras. We talked about in other videos how the heart chakra is the balance point. So you can focus on the solar plexus here, but then shift it into the heart chakra as well. Now, as you get more advanced with this, I want you to sit on your heels first for me, Mel. You come right down, put your hands behind you, and then lifting up like that, okay? And then she was able to move her hands forward to her ankles. And she's dropped her head right back, so the lungs are being open, the chest cavity is being open, the abdomen is getting a fantastic stretch. But again, it's all about the energy center here. And then gently, as she comes out of it, coming out of the pose is just as important as getting into the pose. So notice how she sat down, released the pressure from the body, brought the head back slowly. We want to teach our clients to move in and out of these postures really slowly. It's part of their self-care. It's part of demonstrating kindness to yourself. And yoga is very deliberate and purposeful in its movement. And it's very often in life we rush to do things. We rush to get that done, and I'll just quickly do that. That is not the time for this. You know, it's where you want to slow down. You want to talk to them about purposeful movement, deliberate breath, and deliberate holding of postures and things like that. Okay, and that's going to help them learn how to center themselves, connect to their bodies better, connect to their feelings better, and be more aware of the energy centers that are actually in their body. All right, thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about the heart chakra. We're going to show you cobra pose. Cobra pose can extend from there into upward facing dog, but again, from that beginner perspective, not knowing where a client, if you're coaching online, you may not know where their physical limitations potentially are or aren't. So we want to start with the easy place and allow them to work towards something a little more complex and strenuous for the body in the sense of asking more of the body, okay? So I'll get you to lay face down for me, Mel. Now Mel's just going to place her hands under her shoulders here beautifully. She wants to bring her toes and her heels together. And she's going to come up into cobra pose now. And it's going to work the lower back. So remember we talked in another video about how the intention of the chakras is at the back, but also the action is at the front. So we're working this heart area here by the way she's going to squeeze her elbows in nice and close to the body. She's looking forward, but she's not cranking her neck. And you should be feeling it down the back here and into the lower back. It's a gentle compression of the spine. Anyone with back injury may not be able to do this for any great length of time. And I'll get you to release from there, Mel. Now there's a couple of ways you can do camel pose. You can lift up and hold and breathe for a certain amount of breaths in that pose. Or you can inhale, hold, exhale, come back. So, sorry, not camel pose, cobra pose. No, because I can cut that out. So, there's a couple of ways that you can do cobra pose. First of all is you can lift and hold like Mel just did. Secondly, I'll just get Mel to demonstrate. So you can inhale and come up. And exhale and come back down. And inhale, come up, keep the heels together. And exhale and come back down. The reason we want them to keep their heels together, thanks, now you can relax there for a sec, is because it limits how far you can come up when your heels are together. The spine and the muscles in the back and the bottom will only allow you to stretch so far. Now remember, we're focusing on this for the purposes of our heart chakra, so it is really important that we do keep the heels together in that situation. Now the next pose that Mel's going to demonstrate is the upward facing dog, and it's a progression that still works on the heart chakra area, but I want you to see the very big difference in it. So Mel has just slid her hands right back, lower than her. I always say to people, have your fingertips almost level with the bottom rib. Okay, that's the best way to describe it. And then from that, she's going to push all the way up, stretching the body. As she goes, she's going to straighten her arms, Her heels do not need to be together, and then she's lifted her knees off the ground, so all the pressure is in the front of the foot. And from there, Mel, I want you to lift your head towards the ceiling. Beautiful. Okay, so this is opening the heart chakra area. This is what we call upward facing dog. You can release from that. Now, some people don't have very strong hands or wrists, and I totally get that. It is something that will develop over time. So if they can only hold it for 2 or 3 breaths before they have to release because the strength in their wrists is not there, that's okay. Other things that they can do is close their fists and rest on their fists, okay? Because it's not so much about your wrists in that particular pose, it's more about the opening of the heart and the chest cavity, and that pose provides that for you. So remembering then in upward facing dog, we are lifting the knees off the ground. The heels do not need to be together. The body can just lay how it needs to be most comfortable, and the pressure is on the top of the foot. The other thing I want to point out that Mel's doing beautifully is her shoulder and her wrists are actually in a nice straight line, which is really important to supporting yourself. Again, it's not about the alignment, it's about supporting yourself comfortably in that pose. All right, see you in the next video. Hey guys, welcome back. So, Mel's going to demonstrate for us now throat opening chakra poses, okay? Remembering that we talked about in other videos how this is a really important chakra as far as the upper 3 goes. We need to be speaking the truth of our heart. You know, a lot of our thyroid issues can be related to our throat chakra area. There's a sense of wanting to speak the truth, being able to deliver that with compassion, and part of that's a yoga principle called ahimsa, you know, kindness and compassion to all living beings. So the throat chakra is a really important chakra, I feel, as far as its connection to the heart goes. When we are honoring ourselves despite feeling upset or disgruntled about something, when you have the ability to voice that gently, you are honoring your own soul, and in that process then you open a communication with the person you're verbalizing with to then say how they feel without the risk of being attacked, because you're doing it gently, and then in that process they begin to honor their soul. So it's a really beautiful chakra. It's one of my favorite, and you know, it's one of the hardest things that we can do is to deliver the truth with kindness and compassion. We get upset, we want to cast blame, and you know, if we can just reflect, withdraw a little bit before we go and say what we really feel. The trick, I guess, with this chakra, and as far as balancing it goes, when you're talking to your clients, they need to be able to say the truth without someone fixing whatever the problem is, okay? They can honor the truth of how they're feeling, recognizing that they're the ones that can heal it, and that it's no one else's job or responsibility to change what they're feeling. Then they're in that place where they're going to honor their soul and honor the person that they're delivering it to. All right, so into the pose. So we want to start with our hands on the back of our backside like this, and we just want to bring the fingertips together and slowly walking the hands up the body. Now, you just stop there for me. Most people initially will only get to this place and their hands will be open. And the reason is we are twisting a lot in the forearms here, so there's a lot of stretching going on in that wrist and forearm region, and these muscles don't often get worked. Men use them a lot because they tend to do more labor-intensive things than women, but generally women will find, oh wow, that's really, you know, painful afterwards, or potentially that it's stretched more than they're familiar with stretching. Now from that, what we want to do is get the person to evolve where the thumbs can touch, they can come into the prayer and then raise their hands up into the shoulder blade. Beautiful. Now notice the way Mel just naturally adjusted her shoulders, okay? So from here, we want her to draw her belly button towards the spine. She's lengthening here, and I want her to lengthen the neck, okay? Now if I get you to turn sideways, Mel, just drop your chin back down. So as I was talking to her, I said I want you to draw your belly button towards your spine and just lengthen the neck. So she's opening this area of her body here, okay? So that's been beautifully done. Now, from this position here, sometimes people just can't get their hands to do it, and they'll be wanting to just stand like this. If that's the case, they are better off interlocking their fingers. Can I get you to gently come out of this pose is a really important thing too. So as you slide your hands back down the way you went into the pose. And then she's interlocking her fingers, she's drawing back the shoulders, because remember, the throat chakra area is across here. The thymus is just below the cavity of the neck, just here. And so we're working to the bottom lip and across this region here. So as she's squeezing her shoulder blades back and straightening her arms, she can lower her hands below, and the more advanced student will be able to drop back the head and a beautiful arch. Look at that. And that is what we want. Okay, now slowly come back out of that for me, Mel. She's brought her hands up. Notice she's lifting her head last, okay? So what we want is, that's the starting place, all right? But from that, they can evolve to dropping their head right back, getting the full arch going, okay? So gentle progression in that as well. A lot of people are gung-ho and they want to get there straight away, and they find that they can lose their balance, that they can hurt their neck in the process. Mel's very gentle with herself as she's going in and out. And as practitioners, it's really important if you're going to show... Yeah. Hey, welcome back. All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the third eye chakra. Two very basic poses that you can do for this. The first is child's pose. So I'm going to get Mel to demonstrate what a traditional child's pose looks like, and then how we can accommodate based on people's particular needs. So if I can get you to come into child's pose for me, Mel. So what Mel's doing here, she's just sitting down on her heels, she's allowing her arms to relax behind her, and her forehead is supporting her on the floor. Now, sometimes people have bigger boobs, they have bigger tummies. Mel's just had a baby and she's breastfeeding, so it may even be more comfortable for her or your client to widen their knees to allow for their boobs and their tummies, or either or. And then from that, if that's still not comfortable, because not everybody has the flexibility to get their arms back behind them, you can bring your arms forward and just rest them gently. Doesn't matter if they're bent, it's really irrelevant. It's more about the activation of the third eye region, that chakra area, being placed on the mat. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is, I love bolsters in yoga. They're such wonderful supports. And we will have a link underneath this video where you can purchase one for yourself or your clients. But I'm going to show you what, well actually Mel's going to show you what child's pose can look like for someone who can't get their forehead down. For whatever reason, their hamstrings aren't flexible enough, or their hips won't allow that kind of movement. So she looks pretty comfy there, and I'm pretty sure she'd agree that she could probably fall asleep like that, no problem at all. Now, she's resting her forehead on the bolster in this particular situation. Some people are okay with tipping all the way forward. So Mel, if you could just slide the bolster back further. So now she's just going to sit to support her hips and bring her forehead all the way down. And again, she's put her arms behind her, but if that's not comfortable, you can always bring them forward, whatever works. So the idea is that the forehead here is point between the eyebrows, but the forehead region is what's going to support the opening or stimulation or calming down of that particular chakra. Okay? So I'll see you in the next video. I totally forgot what the other pose was. Easy sit. Yeah. Right. Okay. Easy sit. Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple of different ways you can do easy sit. You can do soles of the feet together, just allowing your hands to rest. And it's you don't want to hold, say you don't want to curve the spine, we want to kind of sit up. The other is just crossing the legs. That's not always possible for people. Sometimes they're up like this. So whatever is more comfortable for them. What I have found is the larger weighted women have incredibly flexible hips. The bigger a girl is, the easier she can sit in that pose. Blows my mind. Hey guys, welcome back. So our final chakra pose is the crown chakra. This is what is known as corpse pose. It's a very relaxing pose. When you are guiding your clients or yourself into this, I want you to really start at the feet and work your way up through the body. So you want to bring your attention and your focus to your breath. So you want your inhale to be nice and long and slow, and your exhale to be even in the duration of inhale and exhale. They call it yaji breathing, and it means even duration of breath. So if you take a long inhale, take a long exhale. If you take a shorter one, make sure that the exhale is the same. But what we are working towards is a longer breath. It creates a more rhythmic heart rate. It activates the vagus nerve in the body, which reduces inflammation in the body, and we can consciously do this just with our breath. Now, we go into breath work a lot more in the Aroma Yoga Sutra course, but I just want you to illustrate to your clients and talk to them about the importance of their breathing and their awareness of their body in this particular asana. So Mel's going to start with some nice slow breaths, and I'm going to just talk to her as you would your client about focusing on her feet and just allowing with each exhale for the feet to release and relax. And then as she inhales again, she can bring her awareness to her ankles and her calves and her knees. And as she exhales, you can consciously send a sensation of letting go to these body parts. And as she inhales again, she's drawing it up to the hips and the abdomen and the belly and the lower back and the tailbone. So we're again focusing on all these chakra points through the body. And as she exhales, she can get the lower back to release, to get the hips to relax and let go. And as she breathes in again, she will raise it higher through the belly and the lower chest cavity, and that she will feel her back expanding. And then as she relaxes and exhales, the body will let go more. And then in the next breath, she can draw it across her chest and her shoulders. And she can use her exhale then to direct the relaxation out the palms of her hands, down her arms and all the way out the palms of her hands. And then you want to talk to your client about, as they're breathing in, to allow the neck muscles to relax, to unlock the jaw, to let the cheeks relax, to take away the furrow in the brow and just allow the face and the eyebrows and the forehead to relax. And then from that place, as you encourage them to come into this state of relaxation, they're more aware of their body, and their breath then can be directed to that crown chakra, remembering that it's at the top there. And so you want to visualize this beautiful white light or divine energy, whatever that visually feels like to you. Traditionally, it is shown as white light. You want to draw it in. You want to open that chakra to that divine wisdom and to that divine guidance, and be receptive to what comes to you from that. Okay, so this is corpse pose. My yoga students, is their favorite pose. They hang out for me to say, okay guys, line into corpse pose now. Because it's the signaling of the body that whatever asanas they previously did, the session is now coming to a close. And it's that rest and contemplative state for the body. And it's a beautiful pose. Again, it's like the easy sit. You could do a meditative pose here where you just used your breath to visualize and balance your chakras with essential oils just in this pose. So there's lots of different ways that you can do this, but I wanted you to have clear, specific, defined asanas for each chakra. If a person was spending more than a day or one session working on a particular chakra for themselves, then you want to be able to give them as many tools as possible to be able to assist them in balancing that chakra. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.